Hey, good morning! Uncle Lou here. Yep, that's right, it's me, Uncle Lou, live for you on LouTube today. Yep, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Hey, with these contests this week, I want to thank everybody again for watching. Everyone who has subscribed, comments on the videos, shares the videos, enjoys the videos. I really cannot thank you guys enough. You know, I think maybe I don't spend enough time focusing on all the positive comments and positive feedback that I get. This channel tends to be, you know, more of a trash talking and humorous type channel. And for that reason, I think a lot of the times I focus on the negative comments because I can find a way to use them in a video in a funny sort of way or something like that. And I don't give enough recognition maybe to the positive side of things. So I want to thank everybody for the nice comments, messages, everything that I've received over the last week or so with this 5,000 subscriber deal that I finally reached. With the giveaways that I did this week, I'm sorry to everybody who entered and couldn't win. I wish I could give away a ton more stuff. I wish I could give 100 hats away, 100 shirts away, 100 jerseys. And if I could afford it, I really would. And we will do something like this again. We will do more stuff like this. Maybe if I happen to hit 7,500 subscribers, we'll do another week's worth of giveaways. So I want to congratulate all the winners one more time. KML, winner of the jersey, Georgia jersey, Nick Chubb jersey. Caleb, winner of the LouTube shirt, and Jared, winner of the LouTube hat. Congratulations, guys. I appreciate y'all watching. And I hope you enjoy your free stuff. Like I said, to everyone else that entered, I'm sorry you didn't win, and I wish I could give more away. If you really, really want a LouTube hat or shirt, you can buy one anytime you want. I put the link to the Spreadshirt store in most of my videos. You can find it in the description of most of my videos. I think the shirts are start at about $20, and I think the hats are $20 or $25 or something like that. So if you really want one, you can get one. I'll try to do more giveaways when I can. Like I said, if we hit 7,500 subscribers, we'll definitely do some more giveaways. But anyway, again, thank y'all. I really appreciate it, and I hope you keep watching and enjoying LouTube. Thanks.
I want to make one thing perfectly clear. You keep hearing about the dynasty is over, Alabama's dynasty is over. Well, no shit.
All right, now that we got that behind us and over with, we can talk about some football here. So, not a lot of big games in the SEC this week. I'm still going to do an SEC Week 8 preview video, but we'll hold that for tomorrow. I've got a little bit more time today than I'll have tomorrow, so we're going to do non-SEC today. A couple of really big games outside of the SEC and several games worth watching or keeping an eye on. So we're going to start with those. Now tonight, Memphis at Houston. Now, yeah, I know there's not that many people that care about Memphis or Houston, but Memphis is ranked. Were they 25? Houston not ranked. So you'd think Memphis should win this game. But, and I mention this all the time, it got proven last week with Syracuse and Clemson. These weekday games, whether they're Thursday or Friday games or whatever they are, these weekday games where the favored team has to go on the road to an underdog are dangerous games. I would not be surprised at all if Houston wins this game. In fact, I'll pick Houston to win it. And so I'm only even bringing this game up to drive that point home. These are dangerous games played during the week by road favorites. Home underdogs tend to win in these situations more times than not. Okay, Oklahoma State at Texas. Texas coming off a tough loss last week to Oklahoma in the Red River rivalry or shootout or whatever they're pretending to call it now. Why do they have to change all these nicknames? I'm sure I'll talk about the Georgia-Florida debacle next week and all the different things they're trying to change the name of that game to instead of cocktail party. But anyway, yeah, Texas lost by, 5-6 points, something like that, to Oklahoma. Pretty good game last week. They're at home this week. Oklahoma State coming into town. I'm still a believer in Oklahoma State. I may have been a little bit too high on them in the first couple of weeks of the season. And, of course, they do have a loss to TCU. 10, 11 points, something like that. But as it turns out, TCU might be a really, really good team. I think they're ranked about 4th in most polls. I think they're 4th in the UNCLELOU poll, too. So not a bad loss by any stretch of the imagination there for Oklahoma State. So I'm still a believer in Oklahoma State. And I still think Texas is one of the most disappointing teams I've seen in 2017. I was really, really wrong about Texas in the preseason. I thought they'd be a lot better than they were. The reason for that remains to be seen. Maybe Tom Herman's not as good as I thought he was. Maybe the talent level at Texas really is worse than I thought. Who knows? But the point is, I don't see Oklahoma State losing this game. And I honestly don't think it'll be close. I think Oklahoma State probably wins this game by 2 or 3 touchdowns. I still like Mason Rudolph. Oklahoma State's offense is one of the best in America. Defense, like everybody else in the Big 12, is suspect. But I got Oklahoma State winning this one at Texas. Maryland at Wisconsin. Boring game. Wisconsin will win. Wisconsin and Washington. Schedule somebody in the non-conference. To me, there is no excuse. At least Washington, and I've given them a lot of hell, but at least Washington scheduled one other Power 5 team outside of their conference to play. Wisconsin didn't play any. None. They played Utah State, Florida Atlantic, and BYU. Not a single Power 5 team did Wisconsin play out of conference this year. They've got a fairly easy conference schedule, especially compared to somebody like Penn State, which we'll talk about that in a minute. Wisconsin, like Washington, should be able to run through the regular season undefeated. Of course, Washington has already stumbled with an unexplainable loss to a terrible Arizona State team. So they're pretty much out of it, in my opinion, because of their non-conference schedule. What win now can Washington point to try to prove they're an elite team or a playoff team? They're not going to have one because their schedule was garbage. Same thing with Wisconsin. Now, I don't see Wisconsin losing this game. It's at home for Wisconsin, and they're playing Maryland, which isn't a very good team. So, but Arizona State wasn't very good either. But I don't see Wisconsin winning this one. They're really good at home. Tough place to play. Camp Randall. One of the dumbest names. But yeah, Whiskey wins that game. Syracuse at Miami. Haven't talked a lot about Miami this season. They are undefeated with a win over Florida State. A miracle comeback win over Paul Johnson and Georgia Tech last week. Just pulled that one out of thin air there at the very end. If you watch that game, holy cow. How'd that guy make that catch, that Miami guy at the end of the game? Unbelievable. Luck is all that was. Miami is going to get Mark Richt at some point this year. Will it be this week with Syracuse? No. Syracuse riding high after beating Clemson last week at home. They probably spent half the week celebrating. I don't blame them at all for that, by the way. That will most definitely be the highlight of their season, was beating Clemson last week at home. They got to turn around now, travel a long way from Syracuse, New York, which is basically Canada, down to the southernmost tip of the United States, Miami, Florida, northern Cuba there. Miami wins this game. Miami had a bit of an emotional game last week, too, with Georgia Tech. Kind of a weird game, though. Poured down rain the entire time. Like I said, ending unbelievable. So, yeah, Miami undefeated. Not an elite team, though. They're not in the UNCLELOU top 10. I think they're number 8 in the AP poll, if memory serves, which sometimes it does. I think they're number 8 in the AP poll. I don't think Miami's a top 10 team. We'll see how they finish out the season. Who knows? But they should win this game against Syracuse, no problem. Now, one of the bigger games of the week here, Number 19, Michigan at number 2, Penn State. Penn State will win this game. I don't think it'll be close. But Penn State's got a problem. A tough, brutal 3-game, probably the toughest 3 games anybody's going to play all year in 3 consecutive weeks. They get Michigan at home this week. They're on the road at Ohio State next week, right? And then the week after that, at Michigan State. Look, you can talk about the best teams in the country, whoever you want to name. Alabama, Georgia, TCU. Who else is up there? Penn State. Talking about Penn State. It is very hard to beat 3 really, really good teams 3 weeks in a row. Now, is Michigan a really, really, really good team? Probably not, but they're good. I mean, their defense is elite. Is Ohio State a really, really, really good team? That's up for debate. But they're really good. They're at least really good. Same thing with Michigan State. Turned it around a lot from last year. They already have a win over Michigan. Their only loss is to Notre Dame. It's going to be hard for Penn State to run the table in those 3 games, but I think they get this one at home against Michigan, which is probably the weakest of those 3 teams they play. Michigan, they get Ohio State next week, and then Michigan State. I think Penn State wins this game by a couple of scores at home, and then they're going to have to hold on these next 2 weeks and see if they can find a way to get through it. I don't see it happening. Hard to say right now which one of those 3 they might lose. I don't think it'll be this week, though. So I'm going to pick Penn State to win, giving Michigan another loss. Another good one this week. Southern Cal at Notre Dame. Now, I'm a believer in Notre Dame. They are a lot better this year than I thought they would be. Now, historically, they're overrated the last 20 years or so, and I couldn't agree more. But they have dominated every team they've played this year and won by 20, 30, 40 points, with the exception of one. Their one loss, which they lost by 1 point to the number 3 team in America, the Georgia Bulldogs. I think Notre Dame is a good team. Preseason, I was really, really high on Southern Cal. If I would have picked this game in the preseason, and I probably did, because I did a Southern Cal Pac-12 preview. If I go back and look, I'm pretty sure I would have picked in the preseason Southern Cal to beat Notre Dame here. Not anymore. Southern Cal has not impressed me. They've been very inconsistent. Sam Darnold has been a huge letdown this year at quarterback. Way too many interceptions. Regardless of the records here, the Notre Dame-Southern Cal game, this is always one of the biggest games of the year for both of these schools. Notre Dame gets them at home this year. I think Notre Dame wins this one. Wimbush is going to have a big game, quarterback for Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame runs all over Southern Cal and wins this one. I don't think it'll be a blowout. Southern Cal's got some athletes. They're capable of scoring and scoring quick, especially if Sam Darnold's having a good day and can throw it to his own team instead of throwing it to Notre Dame, which remains to be seen. But I think Notre Dame gets the win here and moves to 6-1, 7-1, whatever it is, what they are, and they're already in the UNCLELOU top 10. Notre Dame is. I think they're 13 in the AP poll. Not after this weekend. They'll be in the top 10 in everybody's poll after this weekend with a convincing win over Southern Cal. Kansas at TCU. Kansas, one of the worst 3 or 4 teams in the Power 5. Kansas, Baylor, Rutgers, Missouri. Terrible team. At TCU. Only mentioning this game because TCU is undefeated and currently number 4. TCU wins this game by as much as they want to. TCU, the only team in the Big 12 that even resembles having any sort of defense. Kansas terrible on both sides of the ball. I could see TCU winning this game somewhere in the 40s to 10 for Kansas, something like that. This game won't be. This will be an ugly game. Don't watch this game. There's absolutely no point. And finally, Colorado at Washington. Only mentioned in this game because Washington finally took their first L last week, dropped them all the way down to, I think, 15 in the AP. Not in UNCLELOU's top 10 either. Colorado, pretty average team, really. Not terrible, not great. Washington should win this game, but we'll see what kind of a letdown Washington has after their season pretty much came to an end last week at Arizona State. Yeah, I know Washington can still win their division. Yeah, I know Washington can still win the Pac-12. Washington not making the playoff now, though. They're just not. They won't have a signature win. No matter who they play in the Pac-12 title game, it's not going to be a very good team. Southern Cal's already got a loss, right? About to take another one to Notre Dame, which won't count against them in the Pac-12, but will count against Washington as far as beating. So, they'll be beating a 2 or a 3 loss team. It's not like Washington will be playing an undefeated top 4 team in the Pac-12 title games. Washington's season, for all intents and purposes, is over. Yep. So the Pac-12 gang likes to show up and troll. That's just the way it is. Pac-12 not making the college football playoff this year. You've got no legitimate teams out there. Not a single one. And it seems like Uncle Lou told y'all about 3 weeks ago Pac-12 was the worst conference in America. And turns out Uncle Lou was right. Anyway, that's about it. Those games are worth watching in my opinion, or at least keeping an eye on. We'll see. Georgia will be moving up soon. We're off this week. I doubt Penn State loses. If Penn State loses, Georgia moves up without playing a game, which would be great. But even if Penn State wins, I feel like they're going to drop one of their next 2, and Georgia's not, so we'll be moving up again. So anyway, enjoy those games. I will be doing an SEC preview tomorrow. Thank you all for watching. Have a great day and an even better morning if you can.